Apparently somebody had said to him in one of Perkins' classrooms, "Who knows? Perhaps you've come for just such a time as this." We can never be absolutely certain until after the precious gift of time has passed whether we discerned correctly. But I will tell you this morning that I believe there are three elements upon which we can rely to help us discern the truth. Three elements. The first, maintain a discipline of prayer. The novelist Saul Bellow defined prayer as an intimate checkup with the headquarters of the universe. Call in on a regular basis. Find out what God is up to. Maintain an active prayer life. And that's one element that will help in the discernment process. And along the way, you and I might learn something from some others whom we would not necessarily seek as partners in discernment. Think back to the fall of 2001, shortly after the tragic events of September 11th. You may remember that for some time, no airplanes were flying. The country was deemed to be too dangerous a place. I had a business trip to take to the West Coast a few months after September 11th. It was the first time I was on an airplane. It was also one of the most amazing plane trips I've ever taken because the aircraft itself was virtually empty. Everybody on the plane had a whole row of 3 seats to herself or himself. I was in my seat, a few other passengers coming on board. I happened to notice a dark-complected, swarthy, bearded man who looked Middle Eastern. He sat behind me. We took off. We reached the elevation of 10,000 feet. He pushed the button, summoned the flight attendant, and he said to her, because I could hear him, he was right behind me. He said to her, "Which way is east?" And I will tell you, there was a chill went down my spine. It was too soon after September 11th. Besides, it seemed a silly question, which way is east? We were on an airplane heading from San Francisco to Atlanta. East was right in front of the airplane. But he asked, and she said, "I will check with the pilot." Now, I knew what was going on. She was going to talk to the pilot and say, "There's a scary guy back in row 11. Before long, she returned. I heard her say to him, "East is directly in front of the plane." He said, "Thank you." 15, 20 minutes later passed. I decided I really needed to use the restroom on the aircraft. I walked back, and as I passed the area of the aircraft galley, where the aisle widens so the flight attendants can prepare beverages for the passengers, I noticed the man there, kneeling on his carpet, facing east and praying. Now, here I was, a Methodist, afraid. But did I think that my first response should be to consult the headquarters of the universe in prayer? No. The first thing I did was give in to my terror. What this Muslim man did was simply maintain the discipline of prayer. He taught me something. That's the first element in discernment. Maintain a discipline of prayer. Second, sustain relationships with others who can see about us what we can't see about ourselves. John Wesley had a career of 50 years in ministry, founding and shaping the Methodist movement. But if he had trusted only his own instincts, he would not have discerned that the hand of God was upon him. He was a minister in the Georgia colony, and he was a miserable failure. He had to leave the colony before they put him in jail. He was already under indictment when he left. He could have given up right then. But in a sad search for the assurance of God's love for true discernment, he went to a house of prayer in London. He heard the reading of Martin Luther's preface to the letter to the Romans, and he felt his heart strangely warmed because he listened to the community of believers. Maintain a discipline of prayer. Develop and sustain relationships with others. And finally, besides maintaining a discipline of prayer and sustaining those relationships, remain open to the mystery of God's love, which surpasses our understanding. Jamie Foxx, the comedian and actor, was raised in Terrell, Texas, not very far from this spot. In the year that he won the Academy Award for his performance in the film Ray, he was interviewed on a program called Inside the Actor's Studio. They covered the elements of his upbringing back when his name wasn't Jamie Foxx, but Bishop, about what happened to his parents and about how his grandmother raised him. His grandmother sent him out to do all kinds of things. His grandmother made him join the football team. He didn't want to play football, but she said, "Go out for practice and play football." He said, "Why?" She said, "I don't know. My job is to give you the tools. You decide what to use them for." So he went out for football. Managed to be a quarterback on the team. Led his team to victory and set a record for passing yards for a quarterback in his high school years. He wanted to be an actor. But for 4 years, he was a football player. Meanwhile, his grandmother said, "You're going to take music lessons." He said, "Why?" "I don't know," she said. "Take piano lessons." "Why?" "Don't ask me. My job is to give you the tools. You'll decide what to do with them." So he took piano lessons, learned how to play, sing. When Jamie Foxx made his way to Hollywood, knocking around trying to get a part in a play or a movie, there was a small part, and the director said, "We have a part for somebody who can play the role of a football quarterback. Do we have anybody in this cast of characters who knows how to play football?" Jamie Foxx said, "I do." Played football in high school. You got the part. It was his first movie role. Years later, when he was a star, the opportunity to be the lead in the movie Ray came along. He wouldn't have gotten the part, except that his grandmother made him take piano lessons. Why? I don't know. "We give you the tools," she said. Why? Who knows? Perhaps you have come for just such a time as this. That's all you need to know. That's the secret of discernment. Who knows? Perhaps you have come for just such a time as this.